Hey guys, my name is Jesse Wright, and welcome to our interview on the topic of coachability. I want to take this time to welcome Jake Weiss, who is the founder and the owner of Coachability Consultants. And Jake, welcome.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Jesse. I'm looking forward to the conversation on coachability.
Absolutely. No, I'm looking forward to this as well. We are going to get out some background and some amazing information just on the topic in general. But I would like to maybe first just talk about maybe your background and the sort of maybe the origin of coachability consultants and where the whole concept came from.
Sure. So, just to give you some of that context, I am an organizational psychologist by training. I did my PhD at DePaul University in Chicago, and I initially went there to study high-performing teams. So, I have a background in sport. I played soccer at UCF in college, and from that experience, became really interested in how do we create teams where we have people from all different backgrounds, different countries to achieve a common goal. So I was initially really interested in teams, started to work on some NASA funded grants while I was in Chicago at DePaul University, trying to compose the crew that would go on the mission to Mars, which was really fun work. But then I started to get deeper into the coaching space, which was a key area of IO psychology and was a prominent theme that was growing in organizations. So I switched a bit from teams into the coaching space, and given my background in sport, I had always had coaching growing up. I thought it was a really interesting topic to bring into organizations. And back in 2016, I was working with a boutique management consulting firm that focused on driving Salesforce and commercial effectiveness across organizations within the life sciences industry. And I was the research lead for the organization, and we were building business coaching workshops for organizations. And I had to bring all the research to to those design shops. And in doing so, what I started to identify was that all the research and then all of the practice within the space of coaching just focused on the coach or the leader or the person providing the coaching. There was very little information, very little research, and very little attention or application dedicated to the other side of that equation. So that raised the question, we can have the best coaches in the world. If we don't have people that are willing and able to engage in the coaching process, then can we really drive effective coaching? So that really prompted the interest in coachability. And from 2016 through 2020, did a lot of research into what it means to be highly coachable. How do we identify it? How do we develop it? What outcomes do highly coachable individuals drive across different contexts? And through that research, we started to see that there's a clear value for coachability, not only for coaching effectiveness, but general development and performance. And then after 5 years of research and application within industries, helping elevate people to highly coachable levels, I launched Coachability Consultants in 2020, right into the pandemic, which was an interesting time to start a business. But from May of 2020 on, we've now been going at it for over 4.5 years, working with companies across industries, from sport to life sciences to the government, to really help develop highly coachable individuals and build strong coaching cultures that include coachability as a foundational piece. So that's a bit of my background and a bit of the genesis of kind of where everything came from to lead to where we are right now.
Yeah, I love it. It's such an interesting story. We come from similar backgrounds in terms of sports and athletics, and obviously we were introduced from a common friend in university athletics. And my interest in your company, and of course, what led me to become certified. The concept is so it's an awesome term. It's an often heard term. And we've talked about my background. I've spent the bulk of my career in elite level sport, working for different teams and organizations at very high levels, 14 years in the NBA. I spent some time in the NFL, NFL Europe, Division I universities. And inevitably, when you start discussing maybe how you want to build your roster, how you want to add talent, you look at an NBA combine. I've had the fortunate opportunity to stay involved with the NBA league office, with the NBA combine, even in my consulting years. And of course, the driver behind selection and talent identification is inevitably always starts with, can they play the sport? But then secondarily, almost equally as important, however, is all of these qualities that dig into the human being that people are. What type of person would you want to bring into your locker room? And a number of really creative ways to dig into that. And 10 times out of 10, when you start digging into those coaching, inevitably you're going to end up with a question that centers around, is this athlete coachable? And it immediately breeds this thought of, are we bringing an athlete into our world that can get better, that will embrace the coaching that we can deliver to them and embrace feedback and take it and internalize it so that they actually use it to get better, which is going to help that individual improve, which will lead to better team outcomes. And it is absolutely 100% part of that selection formula. So that term in general is one that I link up with, and one of the reasons I decided to sort of get aligned with your company in general. So yeah, super intriguing topic, and love the opportunity to speak about it with you here. So I think the best first question, sort of intuitively, is what is coachability? How would you define that word?
Yeah, so that was part of the initial idea behind our research is what does it really mean to be coachable? You hear about it in all these different arenas. Everyone has their own understanding of what it is. So the way that we defined it at Coachability Consultants in our work and through our research, we really anchor to highly coachable. And when we define someone who's highly coachable, those individuals, they own their growth, they own their development, they own their performance. And the way they do that is through being proactive, not waiting for coaching or feedback to passively happen to them, but they're proactive about seeking out coaching, seeking out feedback and the information they need to grow, and doing so from a wide variety of different sources. Not only do they seek it out, because a lot of feedback and coaching comes in unsolicited. So whether we've sought it or it comes in unsolicited, highly coachable individuals are receptive to it. They're open to hearing it regardless of who it's coming from, regardless of what the topic is. And what I mean by that is there are many individuals I'm sure we can all envision that we interact with on a day-to-day basis. And there are some that before they even have anything to say, we're discounting what they're going to suggest or what they're going to provide. Highly coachable individuals, they listen to feedback from all different sources because they know if they don't hear it, they eliminate any possibility they can then act on it. Now, that's not to say they'll apply every single piece of feedback that comes their way, because if they did, they'd be moving in a lot of different directions. But what coachability really boils down to is seeking out the feedback and coaching that you need, being open and receptive to it, even if you might disagree, being willing to hear the message and then discern what you then will use based on what's relevant for your goals, for your team's goals, for your organization's goals. And then that last piece, as I mentioned, is taking action. And I'm sure we've all been in a situation where we've got great coaching, whether we sought it or not. We were nodding along as it was provided. We wrote it down. 3, 6, 9 weeks passed and we didn't apply the information. So we talk about being highly coachable. It's owning your growth, development, and performance, and doing so by proactively seeking and receiving constructive feedback and coaching from a wide variety of different sources, being willing to hear it, and then ultimately, after discerning it, putting it into action. And that's really how you affect change, how you accelerate growth, and how you ultimately improve your results in whatever industry you're in.
Jake, thank you so much for your time and all your great insight and everything. I certainly learned a lot here, and very appreciative for all your great answers and your time here. So thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Jesse. I enjoyed it.